Hey guys, this is Goku, and today we're gonna be talking about implied odds. You will learn what these are and how you can use them to make better decisions. We will also talk about reversed implied odds. So, let's get right into it. Implied odds are based on the possibility of winning money on later streets. If you think you can win a lot of money from your opponents if you make your draw, you have good implied odds. On the other hand, if you think your opponent will not pay you off if you hit your draw, then you have bad implied odds. So having good implied odds may help you justify a call that is incorrect when you consider pot odds. Let's see an example of that. You're heads up, out of position with 4-5 and the flop comes Queen 6 tray. Your opponent is a tight player and he bets the pot. You're getting 2-to-1 odds, so based on pot odds only, you shouldn't call. But you know that your opponent is a tight player and his range is very strong here with a pot-sized bet. So you deduce your implied pot odds are good and you call, hoping that if you catch your straight, he's gonna pay you for it. An example of bad implied odds would be if you had the same hand but the flop came 7, 8, 9. Now you only have a gut shot, so your pot odds are really bad and your implied odds are almost non-existent, because even if you hit that gut shot, your opponent is not gonna pay you off with a worse hand, because the board will be just too scary. So in general, when you're thinking whether you have good or bad implied odds in a hand, think about how concealed your hand is. Is your opponent a good player or a bad one? And if you hit your hand, will he pay it off or not? Reverse implied odds describe the opposite situation. So how much you could expect to lose. They occur when you have a marginal hand and think you're best at the moment, but your opponent keeps betting at you. You're not really sure where you're at in the hand, you have little chance of improving, and you know your opponent may keep on betting or not. So when you're beat, you lose a lot, and when you have the best hand, you win the minimum. Let's look at an example. You have a pair of kings and the flop comes deuce tray 4. Your opponent bets out to you. You should still probably call this one bet, but you definitely have bad reverse implied odds. And if your opponent bets again on the turn, it's better to just throw your kings away and wait for a better spot. So we've discussed implied odds. You know that when you can confidently assume that your implied odds are good, you may justify calling when your pot odds are not that good. You've learned that in spots where the board is scary and it is unlikely that your opponent will pay you off when you hit your outs, you have bad implied odds. And so you shouldn't really put more money into the pot. Lastly, you've learned about reversed implied odds and that they describe how much you could expect to lose on later streets. In an example of a hand, you've learned that sometimes it makes sense to fold even a strong hand if the board is wet, you don't really know where you're at in the hand, and your opponent is showing a lot of strength. Thanks so much for watching, and wow, you are really quite a player right now. Keep it up, man. If you like this lesson, please share it with your friends, click the like button and subscribe for more future videos. Now go play poker. Seriously, go! You can have all the theory you want, but if you don't practice, you will not improve much. This course gives you everything you need to know to beat the small stakes games, but it doesn't give you practice. You absolutely have to play at least a couple hundred of hands after every lesson if you want to improve your game. I'm sure you're gonna have a ball. So, see you in the next lesson.